the other story this week, and perhaps the big story. It got far more coverage than it should, really. But I guess it's because a New Zealander was involved, and there was so much hype about it. Is the demotion of Liam Lawson after having just two races with the Red Bull racing team from his Formula One ride, for reasons that listen, have been well traversed, I think, and discussed in the mainstream media. Liam Lawson has lost his ride with the top-rated constructors, and that he's been put back to the B team. Now, I have to say, I'm not sure you should feel too, what's the word, sorry for Liam Lawson. And I'll say this, I'll say why. The man's still racing. It's just gone. It's like getting dropped from the first 15 to the second 15 at school, isn't it, Josh? It's like
Yeah, it
oh,
is. Yeah, you're still
I'm not
playing.
playing for the All Blacks this week, but I'm playing for the All Black 15. You know? Yeah, you're still in the game. You can still, it's not even that bad, actually, Josh. It's not that bad. You haven't even demoted that much because you're still racing in the same race, aren't you? It's just that your car apparently won't go. Yes, but he couldn't drive the car, Josh, could he? And that's the reason he was last all the time. He couldn't drive the car properly. It didn't suit him. So they've given him a car that's going to suit him. I would assume, well, he drove it last year, so it must suit him. Struggling to see the downside here. And doesn't it? And here's the next thing. If Liam Lawson, I'm pretty sure his problem now is mental, psychological. How do I deal with all this? I've failed, or have I failed? I don't know. Here's your test of resilience, young man. I mean, this is what happens in life. You fail. You fall. You don't meet expectations. People make judgments about you. What do you do next is when you become a success in life or not. Do you have the mental resilience to handle failure? But if you fail and you're given a second chance straight away, boy, that seems to me a pretty good way to fail. Hold on, let me get this right. I can make this better already. I've got in a week's time. Ah, God, my next guest and I would be sitting down and going, gosh, we wish we were given that opportunity, eh, Nick? And Nick joins us now. Wouldn't you wish you were given that opportunity, Nick?
Yeah, it'd be a beautiful thing.
Wouldn't it? Yeah, don't have to worry about it. Actually, just on failure, though, Nick, seriously, as both of us, well, me perhaps more spectacularly than yourself, but it's how you deal with it and the resilience that I guess our generation and our parents' generation had. Do you think this younger generation's got the same resilience?
Yeah, I do. Look, we all have our knocks in life, and that lovely saying is, "It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up." And look, there'll always be the older generation saying that the younger generation. I think Aristotle got awfully upset about the young people of his era. So I'm an optimist. Yes, the challenges that the new generation face are a different world. That whole social media space makes it different. But I'm an optimist, and I think we'll be surprised when we're old, Michael. When that we'll look on and do so with pride.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Listen, it does strike me though. I've just had a conversation with Ingrid Leary about changes to the psychologists having associate psychologists. It's Matt Ducey. He's on the show later on today on that particular issue.
Great idea.
Oh, I don't see anything wrong with the concept as in terms of dealing with it. But the thing that's amazing is that there is this sort of explosion, this almost pandemic, if you like, of psychological problems that's beset us. Have you got any thoughts as an old sage, as a young sage, why that might be?
Yeah, look, and we've all been parents, and I've got 4 children and watched them and the world and the pressure. I do think the social media is a different world. When I was a child and things got too back to me, I could call off to my bedroom. And I noticed that with children today, you just can't hide from that ongoing sort of pressure of social media. The reason I'm such a strong enthusiast for Matt Ducey's initiative around those associate psychologists is I just think it's nuts, Michael. that we have hundreds and hundreds of people graduate as
Yeah,
psychologists,
yeah.
and the number that go on to become clinical psychologists
I know.
is you sort of need A plus plus plus. At
Yeah,
the same time, I have so many people in my community that need. And
yeah.
so I think that if we had more people that do a Bachelor of Psychology that are able to go on and maybe not be clinical psychologists, but be associate psychologists, I think our health system will serve us better, and our mental health as a country will do well. So I'm a real enthusiast for what Matt's doing.
Yeah, no, I've got two daughters at Auckland University at the moment, and both got psychology in their degrees. And I have to say, they both looked at it and said, "God, I'd have to do another 4 years after I'd finished this before I could actually be a psychologist." It's a disincentive, really, for them to continue on with the degree.
Have they done it to try and understand their father?
No, I think they understood. Oh gosh, they've got him worked out pretty quickly. I don't think they took long to work that out, just quietly. Listen, mate. Now something else. You were just remind me. You were Minister of Environment and Minister of Conservation in a previous life, weren't you?
Yeah, twice. I did both jobs twice.
Okay.
So
So,
back in the Bolton Shipley government, but also again during the Key English government.
okay, all right. So you've got a background in this. So when the Resource Management Act reforms were announced after Monday's cabinet minister meeting, that are going to have a significant influence, you would expect, upon development in this country. Did your little environmental conservation antennae go up?
No, I've worked in the Resource Management Act space. I was on the Select Committee way back in 1991. I think I've done 5 amending bills to the Resource Management Act. And actually, I think some of the work the previous government did about changes was useful. And it's good to see in the package that the government announced that they picked up some of their better ideas. But the other thing I'd say, Michael, is no area of law is as complicated and as difficult and having such far-reaching implications on every New Zealander as your resource management laws. Can I just go back a tick? In 1977, we had the Town and Country Planning Act, and everybody hated it. And then when they did the big RMA reform, and the intellectual giants that did the key work, Geoffrey Palmer and then Simon Upton,
Yeah.
put together more than 90 acts of parliament and tried to put 90 acts of parliament into a single law. And it was a Herculean task. And there's some things they got right, there's some things they got wrong. Can I tell you, though, the biggest thing that we got wrong, and it's one of the things that when you're an old player in politics, you always get worried about, and that is the overreach. So if you go to the 1980s, one of the biggest scraps, and it was so defining, was the debate over the Clyde Dam in Otago. And so all the rewriting of the laws, and Labor very powerfully told a narrative that the engineers are out of control, they're all a bunch of environmental vandals, and we've got to change the whole world to stop another Clyde Dam occurring. Now, the irony is we sit today with the Clyde Dam pumping out hundreds of megawatts of good renewable power, and it wasn't the big sin. It became very heavily politicised. And so the culture of the RMA was set up with an environmental overreach. And as a consequence, since it was passed in 1991, our country has really struggled to get good quality infrastructure built in all the key sectors.
Why has it taken so long? Because you sat in that government between 90 and 99, a national government. I guess the excuse would be, Nick, oh, well, just now starting to see what the practical implications are. But you did sit in that key government also between 2008 and 2017. They knew that then. Why didn't they do what they're doing now, just retrospectively? What
Well,
stopped
you've
them?
always got a bit of a choice. Yeah, no, good questions. You've always got a bit of a choice when you're doing a reform as to, do you completely throw the whole thing out and start with a clean sheet of paper, or how much do you amend? And I made the choice to amend. Let me give you an example, Michael. So I set up the Environmental Protection Authority
Oh,
and
you're
the
responsible for that. So it's your fault.
Yeah, well, could be. But in my view, the only way we got projects like Waterview, like Transmission Gully, likes of the Tahara geothermal plant in the Waikato, if we're in Taupo, or the Christchurch motorway build. All of those were done under that process, where we said the RMA is a dog, it's too bureaucratic. Equally so, here's your problem. You know, after the RMA was passed in 1991, it took 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was 9 years before every council had a plan in their area under that act. And so one of your choices as a minister, when you kick the whole thing up on its end, is that can people hang around 9 years to get some results? And I took a pragmatic view in the key government that says, let's get some runs on the board and make some sensible changes. And many of the changes that the government announced on Monday are further steps along that road.